Morning everyone. Today I thought I would take you with me to bake some cupcakes for my son's final birthday celebrations tomorrow. He turned 4 on the 2nd of March, it was a Monday. We took him to Godstone Farm and we've had my husband's family round last weekend where I made a funfetti birthday cake. He loves Transformers, so that's kind of been the theme of thing as well. I found edible gold sort of leaf to put on it because I thought that was kind of like a cool effect with like the machinery and stuff. Today I'm going to make some vanilla cupcakes for tomorrow, and I'm going to add like Transformer cupcake toppers at the end. So I haven't done any baking videos yet, like ever, even when I did like my Mumma Bakes how would you say, page on Facebook. I did the odd one here and there, but I thought I'd take you with me and kind of show you a little bit about how I go about it. So, I'm not quite sure whereabouts to have you in the kitchen today. I would say excuse the mess, but you know, it's mum life, so if you're joining me, just take it. Here we are. This is the book I use. I found it in a charity shop. Just doing vanilla cupcakes. I do love Jane Patisserie's recipes as well. I think I'll move you over here if I can, although I might have to keep you there and kind of have you backwards and forwards. I'm not sure. It's a bit tricky, isn't it, trying to find out where to put you and figure something out. Yeah, that's not going to work. I think that might be the best place to have you, so let's get cracking. So, butter. I like to try and take the butter out and leave it kind of in the morning until I'm ready to bake, or possibly the night before if I want it like really soon and it's really cold at the moment. Helps to get it to room temperature. If you haven't done that, just take as much as you need, pop it in a bowl, and if you're able to then like sort of pop it in the microwave for like 5 seconds even, would sort of bring it up to that room temperature. That will help because it means that it's softer then for you to, are we able to zoom in? Not really. Thought I'd give it a shot. More new to this. Working through this together. Right, so that's our butter, caster sugar and a couple of eggs. So I'm going to be making 12 vanilla cupcakes today. I've got so many cupcake cases, so I might just go with the, should we go blue, seeing as it's, oh, he loves red though, should we go red? He does love red. Let's see if we've got 12 in the red. I think that's what we should do. I love this colour as well. Isn't that a lovely sort of spring, summer colour? But I think red would work really well actually. I mean, Optimus Prime, Transformers, that would work perfectly. But those are the other colours I've got to get through at the moment. So let's see how many we've got. So we wanted caster sugar, didn't we? So let's see. Now I keep all my like sugar that I use most regularly and my flours, so that's plain flour and self-raising, in these lovely little tubs, and I got these labels designed through Etsy. Found that. The tubs themselves, these ones on the sugars, come with like a little spoon, they're so cute. Got them in B&M I think it was. Home Bargains, B&M, Dunelm, all do those kind of things. If I close this door, probably makes it a little cozier. You'll notice the addition of this light over here, which isn't great because at the moment our big ceiling light has gone, so we're just waiting for that to arrive, and then hopefully things will be a little bit brighter again in the evening to cook dinner. Does help, doesn't it, having the bright lights? But you don't really need it, do you, at this time of day, so that's okay. Right, so I need a couple of eggs. So this recipe is supposed to make 2. Let's see, 2 eggs, but this recipe is supposed to make 12, so I will see how I get on. So always good to check the dates on your ingredients. That's the 15th and the 23rd. So perfect. And then with eggs as well, if you didn't know, you can, unless they're miles out date-wise, you can pop them in a glass of cold water, and if they sink, and then there's like the sinking or floating test. Do Google it. I can never remember which way round it is until I want to do it again myself, but that's always a good trick to see if your eggs have gone off a little bit by the date. It's always a good way to check if they're still okay to use. I keep my eggs at room temperature in this little guy. He's in my pantry, which stays nice and cool in here too. But I tend to get through them quick enough that they don't need to go in the fridge. You've probably heard by now that, you know, the eggs in the States, for instance, they're kept in the fridge because of the way that they do things. But here, we keep our eggs at like room temperature in the supermarkets, don't we? If we go in. Baking and cooking is such thirsty work, so don't drink enough water throughout the day. So I need to try and get into that. Self-raising flour. So let's have a look. That's at the back. Big heavy one, it's obviously just been refilled recently. Tablespoon of milk, that will be towards the end, so I'll just keep the milk in the fridge there. And hundreds and thousands, well, they'll obviously go on at the end, so let's see, let's get started, get our scales out. I don't have the best of scales. I have this little one I've had for ages from John Lewis. You can get away with something like that if you're baking and cooking, but you can equally buy, and I'm going to at some point. There's always so much to do, isn't there? So much that you want to do, so much that you want to get. At some point I'm going to get one of these like saucer ones. They're more accurate, they're kind of like a square, and you just put the bowl on top with the ingredients, I think, inside, and weigh them that way. And it comes up, I think, with digital, yeah, like the digital numbers. Excuse me, my baking stuff is supposed to only be one baking muffin tray down there, and the other one's supposed to be in here. I wondered where. There we are. Right, let's get cracking. What do we need to do? Gas mark 4 and 12 paper cases. So I've obviously made sure that I've cleaned the kitchen before I get on with this. And I use this. You don't need anything fancy. A multi-purpose spray, normally from the supermarkets, will do the perfect trick. Antibacterial spray there. It's got the right BS, what they call BS, and I think, is it EN numbers? That are stipulated for food hygiene certificates, food hygiene ratings in this country. But I probably don't need to worry about that so much anymore, because I've dulled down a bit on the baking for customers, so it does make it a lot nicer to be doing, I think, baking for friends and family as well. Not as stressed, you can have fun with it, and I should be involving the children a lot more as well, so hopefully we can start to do that. At the moment, my daughter's got a school sort of project we've been working on. Well, it's called a speaking and listening exercise that they do each term, and each term it changes to do a different, how would you say, topic, depending on what they're learning in class at the moment. So as she's in year 2, it is getting a bit more for her. More stuff going on, which is great. More to remember, perhaps. So at the moment, this one's going to be on the Great Fire of London. So we have been having fun making a Tudor house for her presentation coming up, which is going to be fantastic. So exciting for her. So hopefully we can get that sorted very soon. But I have just, there we are, instead of taking the camera off the tripod, let's see if I can get us down like that. Can I do this without dropping the phone? There we are, kind of. We're going to have all sorts as we play here with our camera and everything. So that's the muffin cases. I did have enough red. Now we're going to put the butter and sugar into a bowl. Now I wonder if, when I was talking about trying to get my butter sort of, how would you say, up to room temperature enough, I wonder if it's going to be warm enough to not fly everywhere out of my bowl as I mix it around shortly. We'll have a look, I guess, at that soon. So let's measure it out. This book, not all of them, this one goes by grams and ounces for the measurements. So depending on what you prefer or what's easier to read on your scales, for this recipe it asks for 115 grams, that's 115 grams to make these 12 vanilla cupcakes, or 4 ounces of butter. Probably always best to use unsalted butter as well. And then if you need to add any salt, you can just add, we always say, little and often. You can add a small amount as you're going along. And as I've grown up, we always said it's easy to add, but you can't take away when it comes to cooking. Not very easy. I mean, you can kind of take little bits out, I guess, here and there, but on the whole, it's always easy just to do little things at a time. So we want just about 4. I'm going to use the ounces just because it might be a little bit easier to read for a funny number like that. 4 is perhaps easier to see than the 115 on these funny scales I've got. But yeah, hubby, if you're watching and you're stuck for Mother's Day gift ideas and it's not too late, or present ideas at some point, us women never normally like sort of stuff to help us around the house, do we? But I'd be all for a new pair of scales, and it is something that I would use and something I need. Plus it might fit in the cupboard better if I had a different kind, don't you think? Probably easier to store rather than the kind with the sort of bucket, what I'd call a bucket bowl on top. So that's the butter in there, and then what we're going to do is measure the sugar, again 4 ounces. So then we're going to like whisk them both together, beat them. I use a hand whisk for when I'm doing this. So and if you don't bake, you want to get into baking, you're not sure where to start, anything like that, do you know, and you want to, I don't know, say do cupcakes or a cake, something like vanilla cupcakes is a really great way to start. Vanilla cupcakes, if you didn't want to use like a box that you can find in the supermarket, vanilla cupcakes are probably really good to start. And chocolate ones are probably a big favourite as well. And then you can go on to things like, you know, different flavours like lemon. Quite liked lemon and poppy seed when I've done them before. And I'd highly recommend having a look at Jane Patisserie's, either her books or her website. Her website is ace, by the way, it's really great. There's so many great recipes on there. And if you're stuck for ideas, whether it's for dinner or yeah, you want a dessert recipe, you want something different. I don't know, maybe even you want to try something with the children, you know, baking wise or cooking wise. Do have a look at her website, especially if you don't want to go out and like buy the books, or you don't like having a physical book. It's great to then be able to have something you can like relate to easily on your smartphone. Apologies for moving you a couple of times there. Just trying to get the best camera action. So I'm just going to beat the butter and sugar in a bowl. Yeah, it needed longer. Butter's probably still a bit chilly, so what happens is flying out more. So this bit gets quite loud, and I've got the washing machine on. So, if we, how do I do this without flying everything around? Look at that, that's not bad, is it? It's all a learning curve, isn't it? For you, for me, for everyone. And then, as I say, if you're new to baking, just have a look. You know, I'm creaming the butter and the sugar here. I turn that off now just for a minute. You do not need a big, fancy sort of KitchenAid mixer that you see a lot of people using, and people on Bake Off, if you ever watch that, you see them using all those sorts of things. You do not need anything fancy like that just to get into it. Get yourself a nice hand whisk. You can get them, there we are, that'll do. You can get them for under £20 from the, most supermarkets will probably have them. You can pick them up from places like Robert Dyer's. I probably must have even seen them in places like Home Bargains and B&M if you've got those near as well. All great places. And then that butter and sugar has just been creamed together. The other method is called an all-in-one method, which involves you literally just chucking everything in, whisking it, beating it up, and then popping it in the cases and away you go. But with this method, you tend to cream the butter and sugar first, then you're adding everything else in, popping it in the cases and away you go. So, I mean, either or is going to work, but that's the one that probably tend to use a lot of the time. So next, we're adding the eggs. That's 2 eggs. This one's even fresher. It's got a couple of feathers stuck to it. Always good to see. Using medium eggs. Large ones can work well too. You can, again, if you're worried and you're just trying something out, and, excuse me, sorry, eggs. Every time you use eggs, you need to make sure you're washing your hands afterwards. It's the #1 tip for baking if you didn't know, because of what they carry on them, you can get nasty things off of them, like the salmonella and things, isn't it? Right, so that's the eggs in, and don't dry your hands then on the hand towel that you would then use for everybody else. This is kind of just the food hygiene stuff that's coming in from when I've been Mumma Bakes, so it's all still there on the back burner. Sifting the flour using a metal spoon. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pop it in. You know why? Because A, it saves time, B, it saves washing up, and in fact, I've done this quite a few times now, that a lot of the recipes, some of them say sieve it, some of them say don't, but sometimes it's a case of trial and error. It can feel like sometimes it's a case of luck as well. When you're doing baking, you know, you might do something brilliantly like the first time, and then it might not turn out quite so nice the second time. But I tell you as well, another great thing if you wanted to do something dessert-wise that's really, really easy and you're not sure what to do, that's a real crowd pleaser, again, you can use Jane Patisserie or probably anyone as well. Pinterest, supermarkets have recipes like Tesco and Sainsbury's, Waitrose, things like that as well. Fold into the mixture, right. Oh, whoops, so there you are. I wasn't reading far enough, so I was supposed to be in those eggs, but never mind. Kind of gone into the all-in-one method now, but never mind, it's all right. So, yeah, what I was going to say, if you want that sweet pud, you don't want to do any baking, you don't want to use your oven, maybe you don't have an oven, but you've got, say, a fridge or access to a fridge. You know a great one to do? Rocky Road. Oh, don't you just love Rocky Road? Or like those Rice Krispie cakes and oh, what do you call them? Like Rice Krispie squares, all that sort of thing. They are really yummy. So now I'm just going to get a couple of tablespoons of milk and mix it through because it gets a bit dry otherwise, this one. And I'm going to use whole milk, or as we call it in this house, the blue one. We use semi for us adults and the blue one for the kids. So let's try one and kind of two. I say kind of because that wasn't a proper tablespoon, it was almost there. So that should be okay. And then I've got a second knife up for some reason. Right, grudge sifting, fold into the mixture with the milk. So there we are. So we're folding in the milk. So hopefully that will be okay. And again, probably got a little bit distracted because talking to you guys and trying to do this, and it's all a bit strange. I've not done this before. I mean, you could say sometimes that you've done it so many times that you should be okay, but you know, there's always so many things, isn't there, going on and that you could do. So you want that mixture kind of not too wet, not too dry, somewhere kind of in the middle. Gone weird with this one today, so hopefully this will still be okay. But this one's normally a case of creaming in that butter and sugar, that's why it's called creaming. Then it's normally a case of adding those eggs, beating the eggs in, and then what did we see go next? The flour. It's normally a case of folding in that flour. And I like to kind of think it's very much like as if you were folding a piece of paper, but you're using a spoon. And you're using that spoon, you're kind of 1, 2, you're kind of going onto yourself, like fold type of thing. And then what we did, just add a little bit of milk, didn't we, as well? And then what I'm going to do now is just add just a little bit. I'm not going to be all fancy and not use the spoon. I have to use my half teaspoon because, well, I have got another one in the cupboard, but these are the ones I use more, but I have to use this one because I broke the 1 teaspoon measurement, God, years ago now, when we were living in the flat, and I can't remember it. I think I broke it on a packet of frozen sausages by all chance, or could have just been the knife, but I don't know why. Maybe I was trying to, like, yeah, who knows. crazy things happen, don't they? So hopefully this will still work for us today. And if not, we'll do some more later as well. But with that vanilla, just gives it a nice aroma as well. Gives you more of that vanilla-y taste. I just pick up this one from the supermarket. Sometimes I get another one. I've got another one actually in the cupboard just to show you. How do you say it? Is it Otika? And the Nielsen Massey. I don't know if you can see those. There we are. Both really quite good. Obviously price-wise differs. And then what I'm going to do next is spoon them into the cases. So if you're expecting a quiet video today, no, I'm sorry, I didn't give you that, did I? Not with the whisking going on with my beaters. So I am should be as popping them in the cases now, isn't it? If I go back to read these instructions, which I should have been, spoon the mixture into the paper cases, which I should have been doing a little bit more. But yeah, on the whole, not too bad. There we are. Got some nice red cupcake cases here. You can buy your cupcake cases from most places now. I just always think it's still a shame to feel like you're buying stuff from Amazon a lot, because I just love to try and get things on the high street if and when I can, and it's not always easy, is it? But I have bought some from Amazon, and I have tried some from, yeah, so these ones will be from Amazon. I've picked up some before from Waitrose, from Sainsbury's, from, let's see, various places. Was it the Vanilla Cake Company I was using for my baking supplies as well, for Mumma Bakes? Lovely cake, and you don't have to be like a registered baker or anything to use companies like this for baking supplies. But if you are going to order on something like that, do make sure that you're ordering it sort of, it's not quite as quick as somewhere like Amazon. So do be mindful that you're giving it a bit of time there, and that you're not doing it sort of like at the last minute. I'm not sure we're going to stretch to 12 with this one, that's the only problem. But I can make some more later, it's not a problem, if needed. And we'll see how these go. I mean, we've got a local around the corner as well from us, which makes it quite handy if it is something like a vanilla. But for anything else, that does make it a bit trickier, because then it's a case of having to like get into town. So we'll see how those go, and then if I need to do some more, I might do some more later. So they are, keep brushing against the beaters. They are going to need roughly 20 minutes according to that recipe book. So we'll pop them in for 20. I love Alexa, which is so handy for timers. Alexa, 20-minute timer please. And then I'll have a look at them later and see how we get on. Okay, so that was just a kind of introduction into how I go about my sort of cupcake making or baking. So thanks for joining me. Something different today, and I hope you're all having a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, bye.